I have done.
Why are you doing that?
Because I tend to have oily skin, so they just put like a light foundation just to take it off.
Discount. Done. I'm not wearing makeup.
No, it don't work, man. It don't work, man. Your face was still shiny, brother.
I'll tell you.
The thing is, when I had to do it, it was for TV, and they were like, if your face is greasy, and the thing is, everyone who was doing it was black, and you know, black folk always a greasy face. So they had to just dull it down a little bit. But for me, that's not necessarily makeup. That's just part of achieving a particular look.
I'm not going on TV.
You are, man.
I'll tell you that now. I'm not wearing no foundation for no one.
What they can't do is try to put the foundation on and then say contour or anything of that nature.
For you?
Yeah, I thought mash up too.
Cameron, it'd be nice if your nose was a bit... Can we have a nose a bit straighter, please?
Listen, yeah? I'm not the man for you.
Just to bring out the...
Listen, man. Everything that needs to get bring out is brought out already, man. What do you mean?
It's good to have you though, man.
Thank you, brother.
So listen.
I appreciate it, man.
Listen, man.
I appreciate it.
You are... Even though I've been married longer than you.
Sure.
I remember your marriage ceremony. Yeah. Winnie and I looked up to you so hard because you stood up to be a man at a young age. How long have you been married now?
Gonna be 15 years in November.
15 years.
15 years.
Do you mind saying how old you are?
34.
Look at that.
I got married when I was 20.
When you're 20?
Yeah.
I wish I got married at 20.
Why?
Because I think people should get married young.
I think it's definitely got its benefits. My oldest is 14, soon to be 14, end of March, Thursday. And we feel like young parents.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Someone actually said to my missus today that our kids look more like her siblings than they do her children.
I love that.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. But I think there's pros and cons.
Yeah.
And I guess the main pro or the main takeaway really is getting married young, getting married when you're older. Either one is great, providing you have the necessary tools and skills.
This is it.
You know what I mean? Because you could get married at 45, and if you don't have the skills, it's going to be a sham. You know what I mean? Or you're going to struggle. Let me not say a sham. You're going to struggle, as you would with anything. You know what I mean? If you don't study for the exam, and you go in there, and you know, everyone says, I don't know if this ever happened to you. You go into an exam, you come out, you're thinking, I did all right, and everyone says, oh, what did you get for answer 10? And you're like, I got 5. These times, the answer should have been Botswana. You know what I mean? And you're thinking to yourself, man, like, I proper shagged that up.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if you had studied, you would have been all right. Well, you would have been better prepared.
Well, this is it, because I think that there's the other side to that is getting married at my age, so I'm nearly 43.
Sure.
The downside is that you're so yourself, you're so ingrained into your own style of life that you can't bend. Like Jamaicans say, your old tree can't bend. And I think that's the other side of it. I think when you're young, you can shift more your personality, your character to fit the other person. In fact, the majority of the conversations I have now with people that are around my age, I just think you're a bit too set in your ways. And I don't know how I don't know how, I just think it takes a lot more sacrifice to make anything work. Yeah.
I mean, the whole idea and the premise of being set in your ways, again, it's a tool. It's if I think about the whole idea and the notion of someone being secure in a particular way of thinking, and they're not necessarily in a position to consider something else.
Yeah.
That to me says you lack a relational tool that is necessary to confront whatever the problem is. So we we look at our grandparents and say, oh, they're set in their ways. But when you find someone who's set in a particular way, I just kind of feel like, well, no one person will claim a particular ideology if they're brought to a place where it's clear that this ideology doesn't work, and they see benefit in making a change.
Yeah.
If you don't see a benefit in making a change, then you won't. Now, some people may see the benefit and still not change, but I think the vast majority of people don't change because they believe their particular is the way.
But I'm going to flip this on its head, going back to your point then. You get married at 20, and you said you need the tools. Mm-hmm. I'm going to mess you up. You ready? I'm a politician. Yeah?
Listen, man.
You said it's always good to have the tools.
Sure.
Now, some would say that if you haven't got a dad in your life,
yeah.
Where's your role model? How do you know what to do? And you didn't have a dad in your life.
Sure.
No, I'm telling you didn't have one. You tell me if you have one. Yeah? Like, I know you didn't, but you tell me how much he wasn't there or was there.
I didn't have my dad in my life.
Okay.
I had my granddad, who essentially picked up the mantle and assumed the position as the male role model in my life.
Right.
For the most part, it was a black.
What do you mean?
I started having kids, and I gave them what I believed they needed.
Yeah.
And then I guess I did the best that I could with the knowledge that I have.
3 kids?
3 kids.
What's their ages?
14 at the end of this month, 12 and 10.
14, 12 and 10.
Mm.
That's an interesting gap. There's a tight gap there.
Yeah. I mean, and I say it very respectfully, but none of my kids were planned, you know what I mean?
I can tell you this now. The third child of any relationship is never planned. I can tell you that now. The third child is never planned.
Listen, our first wasn't planned. You know what I mean? So, it is what it is.
This is it. So hold on, you got no dad, then you drop a child, and you think, all right, next one, whoops. Third one, whoops?
Yeah.
Bruv.
Third one was like, man, what is going on? That's exactly what it was, bro. See, the thing is, I'll tell you something. I find it harder with 2 kids than I did with 3.
I get that. I got 3 as well, so I know what you're saying. I get that.
Now, you have your first, and it's your first, and you do the best that you can. And I found that I was very kind of protective, and you know what I mean. By the third, I'm just like, look, you fall down, you hurt yourself. Provided it's not bleeding, crack on. You know what I mean. I think by the third, I was a lot more settled into fatherhood.
Yeah.
A lot more aware of myself and what I was able to give them. And so I had to ensure that I was able to cater to them individually.
But how do you know what to give? I can't say you've never seen it, because you said you had a granddad there.
Sure.
And he was an active man in your life. Mm-hmm. Do you think you learned from him what to give? Yeah, I've got another question for you, but I want that.
Sure.
Yeah. Did he teach you how to be a parent?
No. I think he showed me. So my granddad and my grandmother were the first marriage that I ever knew. And they were synonymous with each other. So it was like mama and granddad, you know what I mean? So I wouldn't necessarily say he taught me specific skills, but he introduced me to two parents, or essentially 2 parents. And they made it work, you know what I mean? They were married, by the time he had passed, they were married in excess of 45 years. You know what I mean? So what did he teach me? I don't think it was anything specific. When it came to my kids, I did what I thought was right. You know what I mean? Like I thought, you know, it's probably best that I hold you and I hug you. And don't get me wrong, like I had deep affection for my kids, you know. But in terms of the day to day, it's like getting married. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can have the day, and the day's amazing, and you know everyone's coming to see. My mum usually says people just come to eat the food and criticize the dress. You know what I mean? And people come and you know they'll congratulate you and what have you. You might go on honeymoon, but when you get back,
that day to day,
the Sky bill is still coming out on Thursday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't care that you just got married. So when you have a kid, it's exactly the same thing. You know what I mean? It's like, well, life still goes on, and you still have to be in a position to manage the expectations of your kid, as well as the expectations of your wife. You know what I mean? As well as your expectations or what you think is going to materialize from here on. Because now your life isn't your own, essentially. You know what I mean? So how do I become the man of this situation that I need to be? You know what I mean? And I think that's certainly where my growth started.
So statistically, you're expected to have a kid with different women. Black man, statistically, you're expected to, not having a father directly in your life, to hold you. What well are you drawing from?
I wasn't. Again, it was. I knew I loved my son. I knew I loved my family, and I knew I wanted the best for them.
You stayed.
Yeah. Where was I gonna go? That was my family. That was my new identity. You know what I mean? I remember telling some friends of mine who used to live. So I grew up in Kilburn, and had loads of friends around here. And I remember I told a group of them that I was getting married, and some of them laughed at me.
20 years old, though, isn't it? That's mad.
To be fair, they were like, "Are you mad?"
Are you mad?
And there were parts of me that was like, "Man, is he right?" You know what I mean? Because they were on me. That what you getting married for? You know what I mean? And I was just like, I felt away. And
It shake you? It shook you?
Yeah, of course it did.
Yeah.
Because there's a strength of character that comes with age, I believe. Yeah. And at 20, I didn't have it. Yeah. Well, I had it to some degree, but they were pressing me about getting married. And I had to kind of hold my nerve and say, nah, this is a good thing. You know what I mean? But then when you look at them and me and where we lived and what our lives were like, none of our parents were married. None of our parents were with our mums weren't with our dads. Yep. We grew up in, a disadvantaged community. Yep. Mums did the best they could. And we kind of made our own kind of entertainment and fun just on the road.
You see, that's why I don't know if Chris, what age did you get married?
22.
So you're probably the youngest guy I know that got married.
Sure.
Would I encourage one of my children to do that? Sorry, he got married at 22. We'll talk to him later. 22 or 21?
Let's call it 20, man.
It's that long. Let's call it 20. It's 20 years ago, though, Chris.
So I got my 20th wedding anniversary last year.
Last year, I was there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm having this conversation with my daughter, and I'm like, I'm waiting for her to tell me that she's interested in someone, or I'm trying to tell her, like, in a very, very kind of roundabout way, find one person and marry that person. I don't want her to be infected with lots of men in her life, in whatever capacity. just for peace. It's not a guarantee, but it's just kind of it's helpful.
Yeah.
You know, I rate. That's why when you got married, when I saw you, I remember what was going through my eyes was I just saw, in a good way, and in a bad way, I guess, pressure. And I saw a stand-up guy.
Appreciate that.
So you're in my books. You're in my books.
It was definitely pressure. It was pressure to pressure to be a good dad. Pressure to be a good husband. Pressure to be a good man. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to do my job well, and whatever well looked like. And the only way you can gauge if you've done something well is not based on what you think, but based on what the person who receives it thinks.
You're kind of deep now.
You know what I mean? So I could say, you know what, I'm going to be an amazing dad.
Yeah.
But then you speak to my son and he's like, I don't really like my dad, you know, for whatever reason. Yeah. In my mind, I kind of failed. Because it's not what I think about me. Yeah. It's what he thinks about me. It's not what I think about me, it's what my wife thinks about me.
It's true.
So it was trying to manage their expectations and say, well, what is it that she needs from me? And how can I best cater to that? And the same with him. I think I was excited about having a boy, and from he was born, we forged quite a close bond anyway. You know what I mean? But I had to manage the expectations of my wife. She was a new mum.
Yeah. It's a mad change.
Yeah, of course. That was her first kid. You know what I mean? And life moved quickly. And I had to get my mind right. And I didn't necessarily have a tremendous amount of, I say male, like paternal support. And you kind of do what you think is right. And the reality is, it's not always right. And I found myself, as time progressed, saying, son, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
Daddy shouldn't have spoken to you like that. You know what I mean? Because he's a person. He's a person. And certainly in like Caribbean culture.
There's no apologies.
None. Apology. Where?
Let me tell you.
They don't believe in it.
You used to get licks with things. It's like, it weren't me. And you say, it weren't me. When they find out, they're not even just walking off.
Yeah.
They're just walking off.
The closest I got to apology, I remember my granny, I think she did me something, and I was well upset. And she knew that she had kind of dealt with me a little way. She didn't say sorry. What she did is she bought me, like, there was a little keyboard. She bought me a keyboard and she goes, oh, here.
Yeah. That's it.
So I was like, oh, thank you.
That's your apology.
And that was it. You know what I mean? Like, well, now we're supposed to be cool.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how they do.
Didn't I buy your keyboard?
Them kind of way.
Yeah.
And that's how it works. You know what I mean? And I knew I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't want to be that guy. You know what I mean? So I spent like the first few years of his life apologizing.
Yeah.
Son, I'm really sorry for that. You know what I mean? And trying to be as aware of myself as possible.
Why are you apologizing to your child?
Why?
Yeah. Why? Not that you, not why as in you've made a mistake, but why would you apologize for when you've made a mistake to your child? What's the purpose of it? There must be a greater purpose to it than just saying sorry.
Well, he's a person. If I wronged you, I'd apologize to you. And you would hear the apology, and you'd make a decision in yourself whether or not you're going to receive it. That process, in a very simplistic manner, should be afforded to children. You know what I mean? So when I apologized, I was very clear about what I was apologizing for. You know what I mean? But I need him to know that there's nothing wrong with apologizing. there's nothing untoward, or it doesn't diminish you as a person, to acknowledge you're wrong and to take ownership of it. You know what I mean? Because it's important. You know what I mean? Loads of marriages or romantic relationships suffer because one party isn't prepared to say, I'm sorry, and I take ownership for the wrong, for my infraction, or, you know what I mean? Because I know when it comes to me, if I do something to you and you're offended by it, I value your friendship. And so I don't want there to be any issue. I don't want there to be any divide between us. So in my mind, I'm just like, how can I best rectify this, address it, rectify it, so we can continue enjoying our relationship as brothers? You know what I mean? Because it's not about not having conflict. It's just about how best we manage it.
How you manage it.
Do you know what I'm saying? So if I see you 100 times and we have jokes, and then the 101 time there's an issue, I'm in my mind, I'm just like, well, I don't want an issue occurs. So let's resolve this so we can get back to having a good time. And I think that premise is something that I've tried to implement with everyone, really, but certainly my children.
When they come first. I mean, I'm trying to make sure that, and again, it's that evolution. I have to wait till she's a teenager to get this, right? I'm trying to make sure that she is more equipped to have a relationship with her husband better than I have, in the sense that not making all of my mistakes.
Sure.
She's got to make some, but I want her to be equipped emotionally, practically, to turn around to her partner and say, I'm sorry.
I think that process is key. 100%. But we need to first undergo that process with ourselves. Essential. Like everything that I try to be for my wife, my kids, I'm now learning, only in the last few years, that I have to be that for myself initially. I can't pour from an empty vessel.
That's right. You can only give what you have.
Exactly. Exactly. So when I look at a lot of men, young and old, who aren't necessarily there for their kids, they're not active, I used to look at them in a very kind of condemning way. Now, I pity them, because I'm just like, maybe you just don't know. And some would say, what, he doesn't know that he should be here for his kids? And it's like, well, maybe he doesn't. Maybe the example that he had was, providing you give financial aid, you don't really have to do anything else. You know what I mean?
The assumption that when you have a child or when you get married means that you know is a silly assumption.
Oh, absolutely. 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 And this is why I think I approach men in those circumstances now with a lot more compassion than I think I once did.
It's a tough one though, because you just have to turn up. Like when you had your child, you turned up. Even though you had pressure to not, you turned up. So I don't know how much forgiveness I want to give someone. Because I'm in a situation here where I'm thinking, you deserve to be punished for not being there for your kids. At the same time, what tools does one have emotionally to turn up for themselves? How do they manage their pain? Smoke 2 joints, bottle of whiskey, sex. That's how a lot of people manage. Where we come from, that's where a lot of people manage their pain.
100%.
And again, when a dad's not there, this is going to something else now. I remember having a conversation with someone close to me, and
Who?
his name is, it's the guy holding the camera. But waiting for their dad. In fact, even when he mentioned this in a previous video, waiting for their dad to come, because their parents are split up, obviously, for forever. and they're waiting for their dad to come for years, and he'd come now and again. I don't know what it's like because I've had two parents all the time.
Sure.
But as a child, I can only imagine. I remember when my parents used to just leave me with grandparents for the holidays whilst they went to work. And I'm thinking that, they leave us for 2-3 weeks at one and then 2-3 weeks at another. And I remember every day thinking, my dad's coming home, my mum's coming home, my dad's coming home. And I've got two parents, and it was just for the holidays, let alone someone who hasn't got a parent. To cope with that anger and pain and resentment and rejection, what would they normally do? It's hard to judge someone. I'm in two situations here. Like, do you remember going through anything like that yourself?
Yeah. The thing is, if your parents leave you with your grandparents, you may wonder day to day if they're coming today, but at some point
They're coming.
They're coming.
Yeah.
And that's the guarantee. I know at some point they're coming. I'm not too sure when. It could be today, it could be next week, you know what I mean? But I know that they're coming.
Yeah.
I think when you've grown up, and this is obviously, no shade on my part, when you've grown up, as I have, as many of us have, you quickly learn that chances are he's not coming. You know what I mean? He's probably not coming.
But it's your coping mechanism.
Well, so I think, and I'll speak for me.
Yeah.
I think I became angry. You know what I mean? I didn't know what was happening between him and my mum. That was never something that was discussed in front of us. So as far as I was concerned, he just didn't turn up. But there could have been a lot more to that situation that I just wasn't privy to. You know what I mean? And I have to give him that benefit of the doubt. Because even now I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think there's more. I'm more aware now to be able to say, you know what, there could have been more to that situation. So yeah, I think I give him that benefit of the doubt. But I give him that benefit of the doubt now. As a kid, you just kind of think to yourself, why? That what did I do that would make him not?
Did you think it's something you did?
Yeah, regular. And that kind of thought pattern can build up anxiety in any one person.
So what did that look like for you? Did you have that?
I think so. Now I'm older, I think I can recognize patterns of anxiety when I was younger.
So why did you mention that? Was it specifically anxiety?
I think so.
Okay. What does that mean?
So I think there were aspects and elements of relationships that I had, friends, family, where if I saw something that didn't look 100% to me, I would assume that this person is going to do or going to behave in a similar manner to my parts, as in they're gonna split. You know what I mean? And so I may withdraw, or I may be a bit blasé. So where I was very invested in the relationship, now I'm just like, well, I don't really know where we are. You know what I mean? And when you're a kid, that comes out in behavior, that comes out in, you know what I mean? People say he's rude, and it's like, well, he's not rude. He doesn't, you know what I mean? He doesn't know himself. He doesn't know the situation.
But you have to wait 20 years to realise that, though, don't
Yeah, unfortunately.
you? Yeah.
So this is why now,
Yeah.
when I have discussions with my kids, I'm just very open with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just like, look, let's have an honest discussion.
Yeah.
There's no heat, no judgment.
Yeah.
You're not going to get licks for, you know what I mean? Like, let's just have a conversation.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think there's a...
Before the world informs them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There may be elements, or that there may be initial trepidation that they exhibit, but I have to reassure them constantly.
Yeah.
It's okay. You won't be castigated. It's okay. You won't be in trouble. You're not going to get in trouble. It's okay. Let's have a, you know what I mean? And sometimes they won't say. And so I have to continually reinforce the fact that it's not what you do. It's more, what matters to me is how we sort it out. You know what I mean? If you come to me and say, oh, I don't know, I've done such and such. I might not be happy with what you've done, but I care about you enough to deal with whatever the immediate issue is. And if the immediate issue is your physical or mental well-being, safety, then let's deal with that.
That goes back then to what you were saying. You have to start dealing with yourself first.
100%.
Because you can't do that if you're not conscious.
That's a term that gets thrown around quite loosely, but yeah, 100%.
Being aware, like if you're going to deal with someone's problems, you have to have an idea of problems, full stop.
Absolutely.
If you're going to deal with someone's anxiety, you've got to have an idea about anxiety. But when it comes to your kids, knowing where you've come from, you've got to be able to say, hold on. I think for me, let me speak for me. Actually, what triggered it was my own children. When I'm dealing with certain things, and I'm like, hold on a minute, that's me I'm talking to. Let me go back a little bit. On reflection, by myself, without anyone around, I'm realizing I'm talking to myself. I'm counseling myself with my kids. I'm like, hold on a minute, I've got issues.
Yeah.
In fact, the thing that I'm trying to get at them is the thing I've got in me.
Yeah.
So I've got a consciousness or a realization that we're just alike. And so trying to heal my children was healing me. That's what I found.
Yeah. Because we are, as much as our children are individuals.
Sorry. And that's why condemnation, sorry, I had to get it out. That's why condemnation doesn't fly off of my lips so easily now as it did when I was a younger parent.
Sure.
Now I'm like, how do I need to fix this? And just coming to a realization was a part of the healing for some of the stuff I've gone through. So my approach with my kids isn't the traditional Caribbean way of trying to beat it out or cuss it out, but really try and manage it, massage it.
See, the thing is, I tell you something. Licks and cussing. I mean, we all got it. Like,
Standard.
I caught some licks, you know.
Yeah.
I caught some wicked licks. Oh gosh, I love my mum.
Still love your mum. Still love my parents. Still love my dad, man. You know what I mean? My mum and dad. Oh, yeah,
I caught some wicked licks, man.
Yeah.
But I often think to myself, how much of an impact did it actually have?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because when you go gym...
On solving the problem, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you go gym and you lift weights, you're essentially creating resistance, and your muscles get sore, but over time, they get stronger.
Yeah.
So, I'd get licks, I'd get sore, but maybe the rebel in me will say later. And before you know it, now I don't like the licks, but I can handle it. You know what I mean?
Create more ignorance.
So now it becomes a case of, now my mum's got to make a decision. Is she going to up her game?
Like my mum did. My mum used their fist fight. Oh, go on, let me expose her too much. Go on. Yeah.
Is she going to up her game?
Yeah.
Or is she going to change the strategy? You know what I mean? Because by the time I was like 15, I was a big boy. You know what I mean? And let's weren't really doing that. And the fear that she had instilled in us initially, I just like, in my mind, I was just like, just calm down. Just calm down. You know what I mean?
That's why she chose it.
But I think by that time, trying to have a conversation, not that it wasn't useful, but now it seemed like you were trying to have a conversation because you couldn't beat me anymore, opposed to having a conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not to say that if we have a conversation, you can't discipline me how you see fit, but I'm a person. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a person. And don't get me wrong, my mum spoke, like she spoke to us, and you know, we had conversations, but I think she was tired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So other things in her life going on, that's what you mean?
Yeah, she's still an individual.
Yeah.
She still has to work. She still wants to develop and better herself.
Yeah.
She got, at the time, there were 2 boys and 1 girl. So my mum's got 3 boys and 1 girl. And in her mind, she's trying to keep all of her boys out of the jailhouse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. 3 black boys in Kilburn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Neasden, then we moved back to Kilburn.
Yeah, madness.
Like, she's trying to keep everyone out of the jailhouse.
Yeah.
And I think when you have pressure,
It's not a joke.
no, man, you become short, you become snappy. You know what I mean? You're just
Absolutely.
you're working from a place of fear
Absolutely.
and anxiousness,
Absolutely.
and you do what you believe is right at the time. And I'm sure if you were to ask her, she'd say, I probably could have done it better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this is why I don't knock her for it. I'm just like, you know what? You did what you believed was right.
But hold on, let me catch you here, because you're making me go off script now. I've got 2 more questions for you, right?
Sure.
Because this... You sound like you've gone through a process of undoing some knots. Because not everybody who have gone through... So I come from a very fairly traditional West Indian household.
Sure.
You do something wrong, you get beaten.
Sure.
Love my parents. Despite, it's not a thing that we got hatred and stuff like that, but you go through... There's a massive gap between us and our parents.
Sure.
Yeah. But instead of waking up hateful forever, it sounds like, and I know this because I've been talking to you, you've been unpicking knots, which is an uncommon thing. It means you have to go back and address it. Even look at your dad and say, you know what, I kind of see that there's a possibility that he just couldn't. And there's a level of forgiveness. I'm speaking for you.
Sure.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Sure, sure.
There's a level of reconciliation.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's you.
Yeah. The thing is,
Not many people do that.
I understood fatherhood when I became a dad. There was a certain level of understanding that I had when I was now responsible for a young black boy.
What did you understand?
That what I was unable to give my son and blagged and didn't get right all the time could have been exactly the same for him.
Do you feel that it could have been?
Yeah, 100%. How that manifested, and
The reason why I ask you that is because there's a direct contrast from what you've been as a parent
sure,
to what you're saying could have been. So it's almost like there was a real fine line between the two. You were that close to either being a good dad or a terrible or absent dad.
I think we all are.
Wow.
Because I've come across people who have both parents and their mum's still a single mum. Let's be clear.
Straight.
You know what I mean? Just because you got both parents in the house, if your dad works all day or your mum works all day and they're not home and they're not active, they're still a single parent. You know what I mean? So in my mind, I'm just like, well, at the end of the day, we all make decisions that will either better our families or not. Now, it doesn't mean that our motives are wrong. You know what I mean? I went to university later on in life, and I would go to uni in the day, and I would work at night. And sometimes I went sometimes days and didn't really see my kids. You know what I mean? But I knew it was for a greater good. But they don't know about no greater good. For the most part, they don't care about that. Just my son once said to me, it was winter time and I was leaving for work, so it got dark early. So he said to me, "Oh, Daddy, you going to work?" I said, "Yeah." So I went to work, came home. He's at school. I was sleeping. By the time he got home, and I'd woken up. I was going to uni. So by the time I'd gotten up, I was going to work. And both times it was dark.
Yeah.
And he goes, "So you go to uni at night and you work at night?" I was like, "No." But then it kind of dawned on me that a whole day had lapsed.
You never know.
Do you see what I'm saying? Now, again, people do what they need to do for the betterment of their families. But absent is absent.
Yeah.
Irrespective of whether your motives are good or bad. You know what I mean? And I made a choice. I made the decision to be there. I made a choice. You know what I mean?
Do your kids tell you that they miss you?
Yeah.
Do your kids sit in your lap?
My daughter does.
Yeah.
My boys, they're not really on that.
You're doing a good job. Your kids aren't afraid of you. I know, because I know. Your kids aren't afraid of you. You're doing a good job. And that's with all that adversity that you described, it's a funny thing, but we're doing pretty well. It's good enough? Don't know. Doing well? Yeah?
I'd have to ask them.
Yeah.
I'd have to ask them and see what they could tell me and say, Uncle Curtis, I think my dad's an eater, but don't tell him, you know what I mean? And it's like, all right, well, what can I do to remedy that? I would like to think that I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's about making a decision. It's about making a decision. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be a good dad today.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's another video though, isn't it? 'Cause it's true. It's like, how do you know you're a good dad?
How do you know you're good at anything? How do you know you're a good footballer? Because the commentators and people who analyze a sport will create data that proves you are at the top of your game. You know what I mean?
I guess the answer is you won't know until later. That's when the stats come in. When the stats come in and they say, yeah, Cam, you know what? I don't know. You know, I'm doing my best. I am actually doing my best. What's your main tip for men in marriage? And what advice would you want to give? Your top advice for men with their children to be fathers?
I think in both instances, knowledge of self is key. So, in both roles, as a husband and as a dad, you are essentially fulfilling a role of servitude. I'm serving my family. I'm serving my wife. I'm serving my kids. If I come to your house for dinner, you'll serve me food. But chances are we would have had a discussion about what I eat and what I don't eat. And so when you serve me, what you serve me is going to be stuff that I like or stuff that I know I can eat. And so when it comes to your kids and your children, I mean, with your kids, you play a much more pivotal role in shaping maybe what they like and what they don't like. But understanding you and your capabilities and what it is that you can bring to the table is, in my mind, is the beginning of catering to the needs of others. You have to know you, first and foremost. You have to be aware and comfortable with you.
Your past.
Like, you got to reconcile that. You know what I mean? In my mind, I'm just like, you know what? I am who I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My wife is who she is. I accept her for who she is.
Deep.
Yeah. There may be aspects and elements of her that I don't like. But guess what? There's going to be aspects and elements of you that I don't like. There's aspects and elements of me that I don't like.
True.
You know what I mean?
True.
But in spite of that, I love me.
In spite of
like I'm okay with me. You know what I mean? And so I think once you understand you and you understand what it is that you bring to the table, you now come as a whole person. This is why when I hear people say, oh, you know, he completes me, she completes me. No, not complete me.
No.
I'm a complete guy.
Yes, right.
I'm a full meal, Curtis.
Because
I'm Cam. Because I accept me. You know what I mean? Because I'm aware of my faults, my flaws, and the things that I do well and the things that I don't. And I'm just like, you know what? If you want this, you've got to take all of it. And if you don't take all of it, that's okay. Because I'm okay with it. You know what I mean?
But you're working on it.
Absolutely.
To be fair, because you're not coming off like, this is me, deal with it.
No.
You're not saying that.
No, not at all. So there's areas to improve and there's areas that I'm doing well in.
Yeah.
And I'm always going to strive to do better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I accept that in this moment, this is where I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I accept in this moment, this is where you are. And this is why I find that I'm able to have certain friendships with certain people because I'm just like, I accept,
Yeah.
Like, I think you're a bit of an idiot with that, but all in all,
You're a cool guy.
you're right.
You're all right. I could
Do you know what I'm
tolerate
saying?
for 5 minutes. Yeah.
So yeah, top tip, knowledge of self. Be aware of yourself. Be aware of who you are and be aware of, you know, what it is that you bring to the table, and be aware of what it is that you are preparing yourself to offer. And make sure whatever that is, you're prepared to offer it to yourself first and foremost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Have to.
Sweet. Thank you.
Thank you.